Today is November 4th, 2015. Welcome, everyone. I have Makiko with me, and I have Valerie with me. And a couple more people might join during the webinar. Thank you for showing your face. Now we are live. Hey, Valerie.
Good morning.
Good morning. Today we have a webinar on DNA, and I intended to be relatively short, not 2.5 hours, but mostly like 1 hour, 20 minutes or something. But I wouldn't rush. If we just run out of time, we might continue later. Just today is I already had one channel in today, and I have things coming. So let's make it sweet and short. Don't rush.
Oh, what a tall order.
Whatever. Don't rush. We'll do it again.
Okay.
So, I would like to do it in semi-channeling state. I will be present, but I will bring my higher self, and my collective, we will call it Aerrhu. And then we'll discuss the DNA. One more thing is that initially it was the webinar on the DNA, on DNA, Opera Nancy, ON. But I mistyped, and it was Opera Michael, OMDNA, and it sounded so wonderful that I kept it. So we have a OMDNA webinar, and I guess I will have to start with OM, and this OM is a blessing for everybody's DNA. You may join me, although Google Hangouts don't support a chorus, either one microphone or another. It doesn't sound all together, but you can join quietly. How is the sound?
Very nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you.
Very beautiful.
Thank you. I hear Gaby joined us. Welcome, Gaby. Everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining. Much and deep gratitude, much and deep love, much and deep appreciation. We are one, we are united, we are helping each other, we synergize. Today we will be speaking about one of the most sacred, most divine, most miraculous structures, divine, miraculous symbols, double snake, double helix, the DNA. I bless your connection to the spirit. I bless your connection to the earth. I bless your connection to the physical, material life. What is the veil? The veil, the border, the mirror, the separation, the window, the veil, the curtain separates the physical body from the spirit. And sometimes it is hard to penetrate, and you're looking for this window. Where can I look through this veil to the spirit world, to the alien world, to the God's dimension, to the source energy? Where is that window? And surprise, it is in every cell of yours, in every point of yours. There is a little tiny point, and it is a whole universe of the DNA molecule, which is a portal. Every cell of yours is a portal to the spirit. You are connected to this spirit through the portal, and you are connected to your oversoul through this portal as long as your body lives. And when it dies, it shuts down. But you return home. Life is endless. You are endless, eternal spirit. I invite questions. We invite questions.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes. Thank you.
So I have 3 questions about DNA, which are under different category.
Yes.
Tell me which one you could dive in, considering limitation of the time.
Sure.
The first one is infusion,
Yes.
and I like to understand more. If you could use more high science as well as a more spiritual explanation. So that's
Yes.
the one. Second category is hybridization, which include Yahyel,
Yes.
and then also human. How we've been hybridized more in a high level, that would be great to know, which
Yes.
expand in going beyond maybe double to some people have triple DNA strands. Is that go under this hybridization? I like to understand a little bit more about that. Understanding some people has 4 strands even. So I'd like to hear your explanation of how that, what is the impact and how is that a measure of a evolution, so-called?
I'm sorry for interrupting you. I'm starting to get lost. We are starting to get lost. How about you choose where to start? Either all of the above is valid, so you pick the most dearest. Start somewhere, and we'll go around your questions. And then,
Oh, okay. All right. Then I have my question. The most important question is to me, the third category, incarnation and how the DNA gonna hands over from one body to the next when you incarnate. How the memory and how that part of the DNA being activated or deactivated to maintain the soul integrity as well as the memory from the past.
absolutely easy question. That's easy. Okay, there is two different things. Two different things. One is genetic inheritance, which goes through DNA, through physical DNA, from ancestors to every human.
Mm-hmm.
And the second inheritance is past life inheritance, which goes through the spirit to every human through the spirit. And these are different things. So each person has 2 parents, and each of the parents contributes to the person's DNA, usually equally, 50 to 50%.
Mm-hmm.
And this is true in every regard, either spiritually considering the things, or physically, or human science, or alien science. It's pretty much true. 50% from one parent, 50% from another. If you count grandparents, 25% from one grandparent, 25% of each of 4 grandparents. When you go one generation further, it would be 1/8. One generation further would be 1/16, and
Yes.
so on.
We
Very
definitely
easy.
understand that. Yes.
Sorry for continue. I know you know, but we're doing it on records for people who are new to genetics. So,
I'm sorry.
so just to describe, if you do the calculation, it appears that about 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, every 2 humans on Earth, no matter how you take them, had a common ancestor. So everyone has common about 20 steps, great 20 steps, grandmother or grandfather. Just to explain, that is very simple, very straightforward genetic inheritance. Now, with the spirit, it is little more sophisticated. The spirit is very fluid, very airy, very gaseous, very free to choose and realign through the vibration. In Max's questions to the spirit, he often asks if the spirit has DNA, and the questions come back mixed. In one sense, the spirit do have sort of DNA, but in another sense, this program of the spirit is so much bigger, so much more complex, so much more sophisticated, so much less digital than DNA, that some spirits become offended by that question, saying that it's not for us to judge and not for us to know how the spirit is designed. It's bigger, it's infinite, so it's really hard to measure it. But there is some programming and there is some DNA in the spirit world for sure, some sort of DNA, which is spiritual, different, much more fluid and changeable. Now, when a soul incarnates here, it creates a new version of the soul, new personality, not only on physical level, but new personality on spiritual level as well. This personality is connected through to the past lives, and that is again a experiential phenomenon. The connection, it's experiential phenomenon. The soul has experience connecting to the past lives, and it draws these experiences, draws this knowledge from the past lives through resonances, resonating to the other past lives, to the other lives. And often people are born with born talents, like knowing how to speak, knowing how to sing, know how to play music, know how to solve problems, know how to cook. Max has born with the knowledge how to sew clothes and the idea of fashions, and that is so dear to Max that he often considers that he could be a clothes maker. And that just comes born. Max just, it's a natural thing which came from at least one other past life. So that connection is fluid, and past life connection, and sometimes as you go through your life, you change, your vibration changes, you change your highest excitement, you change your focus of attention. As you change your focus of attention, you change your main vibration somewhat, not fully, but somewhat. In your chord of vibration, you add more new vibrations by choice. And as you vibrate differently, you attract new lives from the past, from the library of lives, from Akashic library of lives, and they become your past lives, which is just another illustration that the past is not fixed, not in human physical form, but not in spiritual form. You just experience new past life, you discover it. And then the more you focus on it, the more confirmations you get that it was you. Now, how does it happen? How does it happen that you can connect? Of course, resonance. A resonance. What is resonance? When two oscillator is something that oscillates, vibrates. When two oscillators vibrate and come into connection in their vibration, it's called resonation. They have to start vibrating simultaneously. Simple vibration is simple, but there are complex chords of vibration, so the structures have to be complex and they start resonating. So to resonate with something, with the past life, you have to have common spiritual ancestry. So usually you would resonate with the past life or with a life which was close on the tree of life. It will be related to you in many ways. So it's not only by free will you connect, not only by choices, but also by spiritual relationship. And again, your higher self is the collection, the entity, or which had all past life resonating with you, all past lives. It's your future self, which lived this life and all past and future lives of this entity. Oh, now, how do you evoke ancestral memory? That is a little more tricky, because here you just discover that your spiritual program, which is partly DNA, resonates with your genetic program, which is physical DNA. And this resonation is not simple. It is coming through certain mechanisms of multiple layers of connection of your physical body to the spirit, which come through multiple bodies like astral body, emotional body, mental body, etheric body. And usually we refer to it as etheric body, just something just beyond the physical, in the same space and time. It is the body and aura and the chakras, all of that is tangible, and energy healers can see it often, sense it physically often, and interact with it. So the spirit, when your DNA is activated, it is a spring, and it can vibrate in many ways, and it vibrates in certain physical ways, and also it creates a portal into nearby non-physical space and time, etheric space. Let's call it etheric space, which is just beyond the veil. It's a portal beyond the veil, and this vibration passes further to the spirit. So when your physical DNA becomes cleared up, structured, and becomes harmonious, when it becomes harmonious, it starts to resonate with certain past lives, and that's how you evoke your past life memories. But also it can resonate with your physical ancestors, and that's how you evoke the memories from your physical ancestors. So basically it's resonation, because you have the same piece of DNA as you say great-grandmother, and this way you can resonate through time to that past life of your physical ancestor. I think I answered briefly about the mechanisms here. Let's jump to the next question, unless you want to clarify something here.
Joe has a question.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Who am I speaking to?
This is Max plus higher self plus friendly spirits. We call it Aerrhu.
Oh, I'm sorry if you cannot answer my question, but recently I had a trip and I went through a portal and I got transported about a mile from my car and I got abducted, and I wondered if you could explain that experience to me, because a lot of it I do not remember. If you cannot, that is perfectly okay, and we'll answer the next question.
Thank you. We focus today on DNA. We'll just say briefly that even in the scenario when you're not sure if it was positive or negative abduction, it's up to you to make it positive. Focus, invent for yourself the best possible scenario you could imagine. Focus on it and look for confirmations for that. Make it positive. And the spirit world is fluid enough, flexible enough. Pray to make it positive. Ask God to make it a positive experience of connection. And invite more of experiences which are positive, and they will magically transform into positive abduction. It will be not abduction, but a friendly visit which you asked for.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Makiko, your turn. Let's do one turn Makiko and one turn someone else.
Okay, well, Max asked me to remind you with Yahyel hybridization question.
Thank you. Yahyel, one of the paradoxes is, how is it possible that Yahyel is closest human ancestor, Earth's human, ancestor, closest race to humans genetically, and doesn't look much like humans? There are many answers, like Pleiadians look even more human than Yahyel, but why Yahyel are closest? And the reason is that, first, Yahyel are very diverse. There are Yahyel who look exactly like humans, and there are Yahyel who look very much like tall, gray aliens, and very little like Earth humans. So the first answer is that, the main answer is that many other races who look like humans have common ancestors, but since that old time when they had common ancestors, like thousands of years, the humanity changed and these races changed. So there is a lot of little mutations, little changes. So they're not as close. And Yahyel have very recent infusions of pure earthly DNA, and this is why they have big fragments, big stretches of human genome almost unaltered, and this way they're closest our relatives as a race, closest race of our relatives in outside the planet.
Are they here on Earth now?
Yahyel. There are some Yahyel hybrids which are here and born on Earth, and which are not aware that they are Yahyel hybrids or suspect that they are hybrids. There are some Yahyel who were born outside of Earth, brought up outside of Earth, and then came here as agents. And usually those cannot stay here for a long time, so they have to just visit as tourists and come back. And in most cases, they just visit to get experience, not to influence our development. And of course, there are agents which do political work and financial work, and this is through the agreements, usually through the agreements between corresponding parties, because Yahyel have a good developing diplomatic relationship with Earth powers, so these individual cases have to be negotiated. And this usually goes through some sort of exchange and trade. This agent in exchange for this capacity and this service and things of that sort, and the activity is also somewhat limited and controlled. The other thing which we wanted to say is, because Yahyel have so much long stretches of DNA which are identical between Earth and Yahyel races, they can resonate very much and they can hybridize very easily with humans. Period.
I see.
Thank you. Who is next?
Could you, maybe Max wanted you to speak a little bit more about that. Could you tell me why the Earthian should be welcoming, or not should is a bad word, will be welcoming Yahyel on Earth in the future?
Why Earth should be welcoming?
Yeah, or Earthling, like Earth human.
Earthlings, yes.
Is it more for the health? We will be enhancing each other's health in the future?
Oh, you mean physically? Physically, why would?
Or maybe spiritually, we will be more enlightened, or what would be the benefit for human to together with Yahyel race?
Yes, many answers. It's like brothers separated. There is longing for reuniting. Second is, the Earth is overdue to open the borders and enter the galactic society. And Yahyel, because their closest relatives, have been elected to act as first contact facilitators and open the wider contact. Now they are joined by many other races who are also eager to help humanity to grow into the galaxy. Third, many Yahyel have relatives on Earth. very close relatives, recent relatives, and they just, especially Yahyel hybrids who have parents on Earth, they are eager to meet their parents.
Mm.
Of course, Yahyel follow the Earth events and are nostalgic about Earth's life, Earth's nature, and everything which is connected to human culture. Not everything, but positive things that are connected to human culture. Main thing, absolutely main thing, is the service to the divine providence. And divine providence says that the humanity have to be rescued from suicide, and after that it will serve to rescue of the creative forces of the universe, especially in this galaxy. The Earth has great potential because of vitality and because of many good qualities of humans, like compassion and the desire for exploration, desire for creating things, and seeding the good in the universe. So we have great potential, and the Yahyel serve this divine purpose of facilitating us in our moving in positive direction. Of course, everybody is respecting, all good friends in the universe respect our free will, and especially our collective free will. So they are waiting for the humanity as a whole, as a collective, to ripe and become ready for the contact and expansion beyond the planet.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So just I'm sorry, I hope I'm not making you tired. I just want to briefly sum up what you said. So Yahyel is really our soul family in a sense, and they could act as a diplomat for Earthian, for the good of the expansion of humanity, as well as a galactic brothers and sisters that will support the expansion of not spirituality, but the creation overall. And also humanity or Earth may serve as a good medicine, in a sense, to provide such as emotional intelligence, spirituality, creation, etc. We are not there yet completely, but perhaps Yahyel joining us to enlighten us so that we could become collective free will race, so to say.
Yes, at large, with two corrections. First, Yahyel are genetically, physically relatives. Spiritually, they could be relatives to some of the Earthens, and they are relative to some of the Earthens, but these are spiritually could be separate branches, because Yahyel not necessarily are spiritually very close on the tree of life of the spirit of life. Some are close and some are not. Some Yahyel spirits incarnate right now on Earth. Some of the Earthen spirits incarnate in Yahyel, but there are also different branches. So they're not necessarily the same. Not the whole as a race. They're not as close spiritually, but they're physically very close. So there is relationship. And the second thing was, it doesn't imply that Yahyel and Earth humans become this one race, because they just serve as facilitators and not merging as one race. That is not on the agenda at all at the moment, and it's not likely to happen soon, because with Yahyel are the first ones to open the door, and with Yahyel the Earth will be exposed to many other races, and it is up to Earth collective and individual groups of people whether to hybridize and how to hybridize with these races. As you mentioned that, as we mentioned that, there is another question of Kim with a warning that out-hybridization might be dangerous for the race. It came from the planet which overly out-hybridized itself. So let's define out-hybridization. Out-hybridization, as we understand it, is marrying outside of the tribe, crossing with many other races uncontrollably and unwisely. It could be wise, it could be beneficial, but sometimes it could be too much. And the race could die off just because there is too much infusion. Right now, the Earth is largely isolated, and the infusions are limited, very limited. They're very limited by many factors, including the culture, divine limitations, and political limitations, and so on. If humanity decides to allow cross marriages with all races in the universe, the warning is that it might die out faster, might die out and dissolve and lose its integrity. And there could be some problems not only on physical level but also on spiritual level. So yes, the danger is there, because the Earth at the moment is very strong in etheric energy, very strong in their ability to procreate. The population of Earth grew tremendously in the last couple hundred years, tremendously. It's like multiplied over 20 times. And the energy is still huge, the capacity is still huge, and the program is largely very healthy. The human physical genome is very healthy, and human etheric genome is very healthy. So many races are eager to borrow from this genetic development. So when the Earth faces the opportunity to cross-hybridize with everybody else, that has to be done wisely and not to damage both physical and spiritual genetics of the Earth. Say 1%, 10% could be healthy, but 99% of interhybridization might make things incompatible. The vibrations could become too chaotic, the chords of vibration of the spirit could become too incompatible, and then the diseases of the spirit and the diseases of the flesh could creep in, as it is happened with some other races. So that has to be understood by earthly scientists, earthly policymakers towards the galaxy, and also by our overseers from higher dimensions and ascended masters who should apply their spiritual knowledge to look at the spiritual side of the out hybridization. So some of the infusion would be great, and of course freedom of these infusions would be wonderful and necessary, but this freedom has to follow certain limitations, wise limitations and wise rules to avoid the chaos.
Max, oh no, it's not Max, I'm sorry.
Aerrhu and Max, yes.
Before you go too much, maybe you could educate us on definition or difference between infusion and cross-hybridization?
Yes, thank you. Cross-hybridization is a very common event on Earth. Say America is a melting pot of many races. New York, Chicago, or any big city in America. Cross-hybridizing very strongly, very fast, especially after the end of segregation, official segregation in schools. When students study in the same classes of different races, they become friends. The borders are dissolved, and they easily marry each other and cross-hybridize. The races cross-hybridize. And this is, at this stage of the development, is very healthy from every perspective, from cultural, spiritual, physical, genetic perspective. It's very healthy. For many centuries, the races were bred naturally in isolation, divided by borders. But in last years, the borders become much more open, and many more people are moving across the borders and across the cultural divisions and cross hybridize, cross
I understand.
genetic
When you
cross.
may I ask when you talk about hybridization, is that cross hybridization, or there's a narrower definition of hybridization?
Oh, the word cross means just how do you call it? Just the
It's
two
like
roads cross. Yeah, two
okay,
roads cross. That's
like a
it.
50,
So
50,
hybridization and cross hybridization are about the same word. Hybridization
okay.
means two things come together and become one hybrid. Cross hybridization, I guess it's usually used when you speak about not two things but about many things. Like when you speak about hybridizing one animal with another, you make a hybrid, like a peach
Yes.
with an apple. It's a hybridization. But when you hybridize the forest of the put a garden of peaches and garden of apples in the same garden, like it's many crosses happen. So cross is just usually between the population. So cross hybridization between races and hybridization between individuals. That's the difference between the words, but the essence is the same. Now,
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you for asking. Now, infusion is very different thing. Infusion, which is offered as an experiment, early development in Girk Fitneer practice, is something which is done only by conscious invitation, by consent of a human, where the human is inviting a little bit of genetic material from a friendly alien race, and usually it is consulted which race is donating the material. And this genetic material is placed into a human for the benefits of developing special abilities such as telepathy and other psychic abilities. And this is done usually to the brain, heart, and other important organs, but doesn't actually transfer into their germline, into the sexual organs. So it doesn't inherit. It usually is not inherited. It is only for the benefit of this specific individual, and it is done first spiritually, as a spiritual projection of the future genomic DNA. So it's not very physical. It's more like a program which is there in spirit, and then gradually, as the process goes, it integrates into their physical body as hybrid cells, meaning it contain the cells are designed to be partly human, partly alien. So these cells basically just enter between other cells and get into the tissue and make home there. They make home there, and gradually they kind of penetrate, and it's largely controlled process in the beginning, and later it's controlled from another dimension. It's trans-dimensional process, but because cells are smart and conscious, there is much of freedom of choice of the individual and of each cell. Each cell decides what to do. The cells are smart.
Thank you. That's much better. So is this like a more like a stem cell type, or
yes, it's more like stem cell type.
More like a stem cell. So they're gonna be. I'm sorry.
The stem cell, just to explain to the listeners, the stem cell is something which can give birth to other cells. Usually, many of the cells are endpoint. They don't go into further producing more cells. Many cells in the body are at terminal stage. They just do their work and don't produce the children. But stem cells are the ones that proliferate and make children.
Now, about this, the brain and the heart, they are not regenerate so quickly. So I'm just curious, how you going to, do you have a mean to accelerate that, or do you just adding more of the tissue to augment the existing organ?
that information is vague. Again, the spiritual projection, spiritual etheric projection is created of future cells, and the cells, new cells, just materialize from nowhere, just emerge in the body magically, and then they produce the progenitors and gradually take their place, so the brain gets more cells, and some old cells just die out and new cells take place there. Yes, the problem that normal some of the brain cells don't much reproduce, and some of the heart cells don't reproduce much either, but it is overcome easily with technology.
Oh, that's wonderful. I
Mhm.
guess my second question is how that the spirituality part, is that programmed in a DNA or is it some other means?
This would be your after this question, take a break and invite more questions from the audience. Can you repeat the question again? So the spirituality part, what about
Is there
spirituality?
a DNA with a genetic code that encodes the spirituality?
Oh, is there a genetic code that encodes the spirituality? And everybody on our side laughs, of course. There is no genetic code which doesn't encode the spirituality. But when you speak about New Age spirituality and openness, yes, there is a certain genetic design which, say, ends up in the promotes, suggests, what is it, influences the person better to join the Lightworker community and become New Age spiritual in a New Age fashion. And there are certain genetic factors which go the opposite direction, and the person ends up in more of the traditional, conservative, how to say it, more materialistic camp. This is a fascination for us because there is no certain prescription. Some of their very advanced hybrids just made their choice and ended up in the materialistic conservative camp, and some of the most traditional, most earthly subjects end up in Lightworkers camp. So there is tons of free choice here. We would say that novelty seeking usually allows a person to be brave enough to go and explore. Exploration seeking is, again, pro New Age spirituality. Some people by genetic and spiritual design are paradigm breakers, revolutionaries in a good sense of this word, explorers, the ones who don't care about the common paradigm, or even more, the ones which always go against the common paradigm. And this is again by genetic design and also spiritual design. Some souls are just rebellious souls. Some souls at their incarnation chose the astrological pattern which is rebellious. So yes, of course there are predetermining factors, suggesting factors, gentle suggesting factors, but the free choice is always respected, and the person might have rebellious soul, but still be very responsible and believe that their responsibility is to stay with a common, loyal, conservative camp. And only when the common consensus conservative camp finally decides to go, then they will go. Now we invite the question. Yes, that's funny. Now we invite the questions from others.
Hi, Max.
Hello.
I have a question.
I hear a familiar voice.
This is Valerie.
Hey, Valerie.
Yes, I understand that human DNA is valuable, like extremely valuable, and the other beings would love to get that infusion from us. So, is there another race being that has just as valuable a DNA as humans do.
Of course, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Humans are unique in many other ways. There is an idea of divine role for the humanity and a big role for the humanity in the restoration of harmony in the galaxy, and also their just the stage of the human development, the stage of the race development, the stage of so many billions. It's enormous and abnormal. That's why the humanity is so many wonders. And also it's so many wonders because it rarely happens that so many races are mixed and end up in such a closed what's that word, island like Earth. Usually by that time the civilization is very open and open for hundreds of years. The fact that Earth remains closed is very unusual. We'll stop here. Thank you for question. Yes.
Thank you so much. I also was wondering about the DNA infusions. How does a person know which DNA infusions are going to help them the most?
Yeah, this is experimental. There is trial and error. If you are cautious, you might ask for a little bit and see if you notice anything and if you like that. It's an experiment to us as well. We don't have too much experience, but we have tens of cases, so we can predict a little bit. And also there is a big factor of you define your reality. You define your reality. You look at where you are and where you wish to go, what you wish to achieve. Where do you feel is your strength and where you feel you want to improve. And you can talk to us and see which of the genes, which of the connections might benefit you. For Max, it was not as much of desire of changing his own genetic design, and he was in love with his flaws as well. What he wanted was a symbolic connection to specific individuals in the alien races. He wanted their specific DNA to become related to Tucker, to become related to this dude. Just to have brother, grandmother, that sort of thing.
I see. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Does anyone else have a question?
All right. Makiko, it's your turn then.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, keep asking for questions from others. You are in charge. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So there's some part of me don't entirely believe in this common ancestors, because humans were made. All of us are made by anarchy. So or
Yes.
Great genetic manipulator master.
Yes.
And then I do feel that connection to them as well, but I guess all of us do, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened before we be manipulated? I understand we had so many more DNA strands, and we had a more ability to do different things. Are we going back to that state in a sense to find 12 additional strands, or my information is not entirely correct?
Yes, yes and no. Let's continue. All right, there are several questions here. Let's highlight the main two ones. First question was, is it really humans have alien ancestors? And second, the story about multiple strands. Yes. When we speak about multiple strands, usually it is just simplification and the flow of translation.
Oh.
The humans always have, in physical world, have double-stranded DNA, period. Double strand, two strands, strands making a helix, no more.
Yes.
The third strand is physically there, well known to the science. It's temporary, and it's not all the way through the chromosome. It's just a little piece here and there, like sneaking in. It's usually RNA, not DNA. It's in 100%. It's usually RNA just attaching to the DNA, the third strand, and that's period. No force, no so on. Now, the etheric body, the closest to their physical, beyond the veil, the etheric body has next two strands, and next layer of etheric body has next two strands, and next layer of etheric body has next two strands, and so on, until you get the whole connection to your oversoul. So that connection goes through multiple parallel layers, some of them in this physical space, very close, tangible. When you do Reiki, you heal your strands number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus minus few. And then it goes out of this space to the level where you can reach only with spirits, but not with Reiki hands, with the spirit. So activating those strands means that you grow and the spirit grows together into each other. Your physical body reconnects to the spirits by growing the roots into these closest dimensions, closest layers of the etheric body. Reconnects, re-synchronizes, re-harmonizes. It becomes coherent. Coherent means harmonic, coherent, harmonic, vibrating in resonance. So as you clear up your physical body of toxins, and your body contains memories, traumas from this life as chemical toxins, as you clear out the toxins and the memories of the traumas, and you heal the traumas, you forgive, the toxins go out, and it's called detoxification, detox. So big part of that is your mental work, which already goes into your beyond the physical. It goes into the next few levels of layers of etheric body, and you clear up these strands, these layers, and you keep going until you re-synchronize, re-harmonize, resonate to your next layers of your bodies, and you become one, united, unified, more conscious. It's called, usually in Lightworkers community, it's called fully conscious or higher conscious, wholly conscious. You become whole with your spirit. And then the spirit does the same from their side, and they regrow into your physical body. So when you meditate, that's the process of reunion and clearing up, re-establishing the resonation, re-establishing the coherence between different bodies and different DNAs. So obviously the higher masters are more connected to their DNA. The Buddhist monks, the highly spiritual people, they are well integrated, and you see that they shine because there is so much more life force coming all the way through, up and down. And obviously the aliens from different levels, they have Just their culture is such that they are way more connected from the very beginning to the very end. They are very connected to their multiple bodies, and they, in the higher dimensions, this is way more transparent. Earth is experimentally is very unique in a way that it's all blocked by very strong veil. So veil is the key here.
Max, briefly, when we dream, are we activating certain DNA strands?
Or deactivating, right? You can do whatever you like. Yes. If you have a nightmare, possibly the strands are shutting down, and if you have a wonderful dream, they are activated. Yes.
I see. No, I understand. So thank you. So going back to my question, the Aryan ancestor you are trying to explain to me next.
Yes, alien ancestors.
Yeah.
Understand that you create your reality right now, and you create your past right now. So for some, all right, some humans have no alien ancestors, and they created that reality, and this reality is shaken right now. They already watched Ancient Aliens, and they're not sure anymore. But yes, some humans still have the past with no alien ancestors, and some humans have the past which lasts only less than 6,000 years and starts with Adam. That's it. All right, now,
I thought we are talking about fact and not the belief system.
Right, so there are multiple realities, multiple worlds overlaying. You're playing on the same field with people who have different pasts. Some people don't believe the dinosaurs existed at all, or they existed within 6,000 years, right? So for them, it is very real, and nothing can shake their worldview.
Oh, okay. Max.
So the present is common. The past is a little bit different. But in any case, in the reality where most of my listeners are, how about this? In the reality where our listeners are, the alien presence is very profound. Just look at the pyramids, look at the Peru, the technologies which were used to build these monoliths, to melt and mold the stones were alien, clearly alien. Look at the Sitchin's interpretations of Sumerian tablets. Look at the million of Hindu people. They know the aliens were there because the sacred texts say such. It's only Christian tradition kind of has very little on aliens. It was wiped out. But Elohim look like aliens in many ways. And there are other mentions in the Bible. Most of the aliens, many of the alien colonies which were made on Earth were made by refugees. They just ran out from their wars and found the refuge on Earth. And for some of them, it was impossible to live on Earth in natural conditions, so they had to build artificial cities with artificial environment to survive here. But for them to reincarnate, it was essential to adapt to this planet, so they had to create vessels for their souls, which would be compatible both with their souls and also compatible with the ecology here. So they created such, and initially they used primate ancestors from Earth, and then as there was a variety of different versions of the human, they experimented with such and created more and more compatible versions. Now, their vibration on Earth was more fourth dimensional, fourth density before the destruction of Atlantis, and then it went down to the third density at the destruction of Atlantis and with the fall of humanity. It was the biggest catastrophe in their recent history, last
I'm very
It was
sorry.
about 23,500 years. Again, it's not the truth for all humanity, truth for my listeners. If you go and look for confirmations, you will find plenty, just plenty. So that common history is commonly accepted by enlightened people, and that history possibly will be taken later by the whole humankind collectively, because it makes sense and it is a nice scenario. So you create the past right now, and this past makes a lot of sense. Okay.
But I do confuse when you talk about soul family, DNA ancestor, or spirit or realm. Let's say you want to go home after this life.
Yes.
How would I know which one is my soul family?
Is your soul family?
Yes.
You will know. It's easy. Oh, you will know for sure. Most of people know, no problem, through resonation. When you become spirit, you're dragged, you're drawn. It's happiness. You just by the feeling you will reunite with your source in a very happy manner. You won't be confused. No, you're confused only here. No. On the other side, it's so easy. It's laughable. But you carry this life and this genome with you in the spirit world, and the whole life. It's the spirit is so huge that the whole life, the whole events, all your genome, and the whole thing is packaged on a little floppy drive, and you take it in your pocket when you go home.
So, on your end, what human should call that? Is it oversoul, higher self? Because it's none of things seem to fit.
Yes, you remain you. Your higher self remains higher self. You and your higher self remain free will figures, free will entities. You become related, independent spirits. You become part of higher self as higher self becomes part of God. So you remain your identity. You retain your identity. Your past lives retain their identities. They are you in many ways, but they have free will and retain their identities. So again, it's enclosed fractals. Enclosed fractals.
Okay.
The past life becomes part of you. You become the part of past life, but you still have identity and free will. Oversoul is different from higher self in a way that oversoul is the tree of life, and higher self is your future self. It's again different identities, and tree of life is more bigger, way bigger. And again, the tree of life has lots of branches. So when you say oversoul, there are different levels of oversoul. You can find an oversoul of all humanity. You can find oversoul of your family tree, of your branch, and so on. You can find an oversoul of all humans beyond their Earth. You can, and so on. And it goes beyond this reality to bigger reality. So the tree of life is huge. And again, it's airy and fluid. It is restructuring itself at will. And it goes by resonances. Basically, your cord is part of the bigger cord, and you resonate with your family tree just because they feel good. You resonate, you attract. By the law of attraction, you will be attracted to the souls which resonate with you. It's very easy to find your home because you're drawn there. You're drawn. There is a law of attraction. You will be gravitating and flying very fast through the tunnel to you.
That's so sweet. That's so beautiful. So it's kind of, we are like all free agent in the sense that you're going to see your camp.
You're going to see your what?
Like a camp or a team or whatever, like a football player, that you have become free agent and you find your teammate and you rejoin.
Yes.
It's very flat way to But that's how my brain will comprehend at this time.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I think I asked enough questions. Anybody else has one, please?
Yes,
Yes,
Max.
please. Yes.
Max started out pretty tired this morning. Do you need a drink of water or anything?
Oh, thank you. I had a channeling session in the morning with the Russians. We are starting Russian version of Human Colony already started.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
Today was the announcement, the first announcement.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yes, very happy for that. Make it worldwide.
Which one should be next? Spanish?
Sure.
Oh no, Japan, of course.
All right. Makiko, you will be organizing the Japanese version. We'll provide the tools. You just need to make it happen.
Very good.
And the Spanish, I guess Sabrina wanted to do it, so we'll provide that technology.
And Karen, aren't you somewhere else too? In another country?
Bolivia.
She maybe can't hear me.
Who?
Karen.
Karen? Yeah, Karen is in Netherlands.
There
Netherlands.
you go.
European Union, yes. But European Union speaks English. They don't have to translate. They all speak English.
Yeah, that's true.
No,
That's true.
European Union, we are them. Yes.
Okay. Do we have a blessing this morning?
Yes. What do you mean? We always have a blessing.
Yes. Well, you wanted to cut it short, and you've been in about an hour, a little over an hour. Did you
Oh,
want to
really?
keep going, or?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, let's do burning question. Any more burning questions?
I do, but I would save it for later.
Okay. Any more burning questions?
No, thank you so much.
Let me look for questions which are burning on this side.
Yes, if you have a message for us, that would be wonderful.
All right, Max will come back fully and show a little bit of chemistry.
So funny, we need to remind him, huh? Short session, he says.
You're so good. It's so funny, whoever that was. Whoever that was, I love it.
Before I forget, an announcement. Our next Reiki class will be Reiki class number 2, level 2 on November 16 at noon Eastern Time, run by me and Jim. It's only $150, cheaper than you would get elsewhere. And usually we have channeled, part of the class is channeled, and wonderful teachers come through. And people who already took the class felt that the distance is not a barrier for the attunement, initiation, and blessings and things of that sort. They feel the energy, it comes. And obviously, between the classes, we encourage you to go and practice on your family, friends, and so on, and join local Reiki community. And again, because you have two teachers, Jim and me, we have very different, somewhat different takes on everything, so it's even laughable. On every question, we usually have like 2 or even more answers. So Reiki 2 class on November 16, and to sign up, contact me through Skype, max2040507, Skype ID, or contact Alex at reiki@humancolony.org, reiki@humancolony.org, and sign up for that. And the payments are flexible. You can pay anywhere, anytime, not necessarily now. You can. Reiki 2 allows you to become a practitioner, so you can even take the class now, become a practitioner, earn the money, and send them. That would be fine as well.
Ah, good idea. What is it, Max?
What? Now this is. Okay, who knows the DNA right now? Who is knowledgeable? Which of the parts of the DNA is that?
Oh God, is that A or T or C or G?
Very good, very good, very good. All right, so the DNA is very simple code. Every cell contains these 4 letters, A, G, C, T, the molecules. And there is, in every cell, there is 3 billion of this. 3 billion letters in the code. Every cell. And in humans, they're almost identical. Every cell has a program. So now the size of your hard drive is about 100 gigabytes or 1 terabyte. So the 3 gigabyte code, 3 billion letters code would take the space of 3 gigabyte, which is usually the size of 1 big video or 3 smaller videos. So it's very manageable, very manageable. And that's, the whole human physical design in this 3 gigabytes is programmed. Obviously there is spiritual design, but the physical one is here in 3 gigabytes, AGCT. And this strands double-stranded, so the code, one strand has AGCT, and the second strand is copied from one to another. It's copied by the principle of complementarity. A pairs to T, and G pairs to what? G to C. GC. Okay, I guess I have to write. A to T, G to C. That's the principle of complementarity. It's true even for aliens. All those aliens, they usually have the same AGCT. Some have little more, but usually AGCT. They are very compatible. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to infuse their DNA with us and hybridize. They're all AGCT. Imagine that. And even more, our DNA is a right-handed spiral. It's like a screw. Our screws are right-handed. When you turn it, it goes forward. And our DNA also is right-handed. It goes forward this way. So if you have a picture of left-handed DNA, it's not even alien. This DNA is not from Earth for sure. All our life on Earth is right-handed, like that. Right-handed. How to
Makiko
remember
has a
it?
question, if she can.
All right.
Go ahead, Makiko.
Sorry, I may jump over, but there's amino acid encoded by 3 genetic combination, A, T, C, Z, the 3 out of 4. But many of them are redundant, and I hear that some other life form could use that combination to produce new kind of amino acid. Is it the case for Aryan? Is some of the Aryan producing different type of amino acid other than the one we have?
Absolutely yes. The Earth has lots of alien life forms, and these life forms are cross-transferred between different planets. Some of the alien life forms can live here, and obviously some of the alien life forms cannot live here. But obviously our insects are very different. Our spiders are very different. The mollusks are very different. Even within our cells, there is mitochondrial DNA, which is very alien to our cells. So we are a mixture, and when aliens created, and when angels created, God created us here, the earth, the life on earth. When angels and God created the life on earth, they borrowed the designs from everywhere, and as aliens added more, they also borrowed the designs from everywhere at will, and it is all evolving together. So yes, of course, there is a lot of alien forms, but even with these alien forms, all the DNA is right-handed. And one more thing to know is that, there's the dogma of molecular biology. DNA makes RNA, copy to RNA. RNA is translated to the protein. So when you say DNA, it's made out of nucleotides. And also these are called bases because they have basic properties. Nucleotides contain bases. RNA is made also out of nucleotides, RNA nucleotides, and protein is made out of amino acids. Amino acids. Nucleotides, nucleotides, amino acids. Nucleic acid, protein. DNA, desoxyribonucleic acid, RNA, ribonucleic acid, protein. Okay? And the last thing is these are the pairs. If you have 3 connections here, white connections, 3 white connections, it is GC, and G is big, C is small. And this pair has 2 connections. It's AT. A is big, T small. And surprise, when you overlay A, G, C, and T, they are almost identical. There is like very few differences, very tiny differences. So these are the pairs, and they go in a double helix like that. And in one turn of the double helix, there is 10.5 steps usually of these pairs. So the helix goes AGCT, AGCT, and they go in pairs. And they kind of connected together, paired. So that's a simple DNA molecule. And when you think about that, it might help to really connect to this physical molecule, which is true shape, and it's universal to our dimension, even the next dimension up the 4 density. They also have the same physical DNA. Maybe bigger, longer genome, but physically it's almost the same. And I guess at this we might end with a blessing. Anybody is up to the blessings? Do you want to say a blessing?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I thought you were going to do it.
To listen, okay, all right.
Yes.
Usually Sabrina comes up with a blessing. Gurudan, do you like to bless us? Okay. All right.
He has no audio. Dan doesn't.
Okay. All right. All right. We thank you for your questions. We thank you for your interest and especially for your laughter. This laughter was very refreshing. Be enjoying, laugh, and love. Be sure we reconnected to you on one more level just now, as we were thinking about the DNA which unites us and you. The DNA is divine. It is magic. It is part of astrology, part of numerology, part of sacred genetics. This idea of the double helix, of yin and yang, of male and female principle, of light and dark. This idea penetrates the creation from top to bottom and from bottom to top. Understand that, keep in mind that every level of creation has divine creator within it. Every DNA molecule has the divine force within it, divine intelligence within it. Every cell is intelligent. Every cell is conscious. Every DNA molecule is intelligent. Every DNA molecule is conscious. Every atom is intelligent. Every atom is a new universe. It's limitless. It's eternal. when you meditate, pray for your DNA to become more coherent, more harmonious, purified of darkness, purified of impurities, purified of sadness, purified of drama. Become joyful, that your DNA becomes joyful, becomes ecstatic, becomes blissful. Pray for that. Talk to your DNA. Unite with your DNA. All strands in all dimensions. Grow back into your spirit. Reunite with your spirit. And through your spirit, reunite with us. We welcome God within you. And we welcome God within your DNA.
We thank you so much, Max.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Nice questions and nice laughter.
Yes,
All right, let's continue some other day. And today, bless you all, and thank you much. I will stop the broadcast right now. Bye, bye, bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.